Hey guys, Pro1701 here, and today we're going to talk about 5 things I want to see in Series 13 of Doctor Who. Number 5 is I want to see a retcon of the Timeless Children, because I did not like that episode, I did not like that story, I don't like that idea. Let me be specific though. I'm not upset or bothered by the idea of pre-Hartnell doctors. I actually don't mind there being pre-Hartnell doctors. The classic series alluded to the possibility of pre-Hartnell doctors several times, not just in the brain of Morbius, but several times. Even John Pertwee's doctor at one point mentioned something about his age being several thousand of your years, of your Earth years, or something like that. I forget exactly what he said. But it's been alluded to several times that there might be pre-Hartnell doctors. I have no issues with that. I have a problem with the Doctor being more than just a regular Time Lord. Like I never liked the Cartmel master plan, even back in the classic series, with the Doctor being more than just a Time Lord. I really have issues with him being the whole founding of the Time Lord Society, of him being responsible, of him being basically Space Jesus. Because that's not what the Doctor is. The Doctor, at his core, is at best an average Time Lord, and possibly even below that. I believe there's an episode that mentions the Master had better scores than him at the Academy when they went together. When the Doctor first meets Romana, they're going over grades, and she's talking about her grade average, which is like the equivalent of an A. He's like, "Am I supposed to be impressed?" And she's like, "Well, it's better than, squeaking by with basically the equivalent of a D." And he's like, "Those records are classified." So he's not supposed to be even a really good Time Lord, an average Time Lord at best. And that works for me, because as Council of Geeks said, I think of the Doctor, and Classic Who thinks of the Doctor as kind of like Spider-Man, kind of swinging around, helping out, saving the neighborhood, your friendly neighborhood doctor. Whereas the modern series, he's more like Superman, and everybody knows him. His name is Legend. And that's not the Doctor. He's not Space Jesus. He's not Superman. So I really have an issue with him being the founding of the Time Lord Society and being more than just a regular Time Lord. Personally, the way you retcon that is you make the Master the Timeless Child. That has possibilities. It would explain exactly why the Master goes from being the almost redeemed character that Missy was to being the way he is as the Master now. Imagine Missy regenerating and then learning all of this, learning he's the Timeless Child, learning how they forcibly wiped his memory after they basically used him to build their society. He'd be furious. He'd be angry, especially since then they've cast him out and exiled him, called him diseased. And that would explain why he was so furious that he destroyed all of Gallifrey somehow. That would make sense. That would explain why he's turned heel so strongly. Not just partly, like he's way evil now. That explains why he's like that. It makes more sense. And he could just be manipulating the Doctor into thinking she's the Timeless Child, because he likes throwing her off balance and tormenting her. Think about it. The 13th Doctor is very insecure and very unsure of herself, and a lot of all of this is added to it. Gallifrey being destroyed, her thinking she's the Timeless Child, has made this even worse, which could be what the Master wants. Maybe when they were in the Matrix, and he mentions, well, that's it. All the rest of it was erased long before I got here. Maybe he's lying. Maybe he erased it. He wants her confused and off guard. So I think you retcon that and make the Master the Timeless Child with him just manipulating her. Number 4, bring back a classic Who villain that's more of a lesser known villain, like the Crotons. Really update their design. The Crinoids from the Seeds of Doom would be a really good one. I find them fascinating, and I love the Seeds of Doom. Do not bring back Sutekh. Sutekh is perfect. Pyramids of Mars is perfect. Chibnall will just ruin it. Leave Sutekh alone. But maybe the villains from the Android Invasion, I wouldn't mind seeing them again. Or Ford of Doomsday? Those villains would be good to see back. But some of the lesser known classic Who villains, let's bring them in and give them a shot and kind of update them for a modern audience. I'd like to see some of that. I wouldn't mind seeing the Sontarans come back. I want to see the Sontarans come back but actually be taken as a threat. You know, I don't want the comic relief Centaurans. I love Strax, don't get me wrong, I like Strax. But they use the Centaurans too much for comedy now. They really haven't been taken seriously since that two-parter in Series 4 when they first showed back up. So I'd love to see, like, a whole army of them that the Doctor has to face again when it's a serious threat, like Classic Who levels of, oh crap, the Centaurans. You know, bring them back. I'd like to see that. Number 3 is bring back a classic series companion, much like School Reunion did with Sarah Jane. So many of the diehard fans have wanted this for so long, it doesn't make sense not to do it. We would love to see Ace. We would love to see Mel. We would love to see Joe. I mean, there's so many. I'd love to see Jamie. Oh, if they brought back Jamie, because I love Jamie. He's my favorite male companion and one of my favorite companions. You could even bring back Turlo. I liked him a lot. You can bring back Nyssa. You can bring back Tegan, because I love me some Janet Fielding. That would work really well. You know, one of the reasons that the little commercials and trailers they do advertising the classic series box sets, you know, we love those, especially like the Ace one when the Doctor, you know, is knocking on the door at the end to see Ace, and then the one they just did for for season 24 when the Seventh Doctor meets up with Mel. How much fun was that to see Sylvester McCoy back in his outfit and Mel there and them talking to each other. I really think it would be a huge, huge moment to bring back a classic companion. Now, I get that'd be a little harder to film because the classic companions aren't exactly spring chickens, and COVID is really dangerous, especially some of these new variants they're having in Europe right now. So I get that would be a little tricky to do, but I would love to see it. I would love to see a classic companion come back and be written well. Now, I think that would really appease a lot of us old school fans and a lot of the newer fans who have gotten into Classic Who since they've started watching Modern Who. Number 2, this is a big one. Let the Doctor lose. The Doctor wins. We always expect the Doctor to win. But sometimes the Doctor doesn't either completely win or the Doctor loses. One of the things I like about Victory of the Daleks, which is far from a perfect episode, but one thing I like about it is that the Doctor loses. The Daleks win. It's called Victory of the Daleks. The Daleks accomplish everything they set out to do. They trick the Doctor into proving that they're the Daleks so they can reactivate the progenitor, bring back the pure Daleks, and then basically the Daleks leave and they can now rebuild the entire Dalek fleet. And that's probably where all the modern Daleks we see now come from, was that the Doctor screwed up. He made a mistake. I want to see more of that. See, that episode we were talking about earlier with the Centaurans. Excuse me. When he's fighting the army of Centaurans, maybe he can't beat them, or she can't beat them. Maybe she's so overwhelmed that she has to leave. Maybe they're trying to turn this planet's sky, you know, maybe they're trying to poison the sky and change this planet into a Centauran planet like they were trying to do with Earth in Series 4. And for some reason, she can't beat them. The most she can do is just get out of there and get as many people out as she can. Even better, you really want to make this top-notch? Make it the Daleks. Because anytime, the Daleks are usually scarier when there's only one of them. Like the episode Dalek, or Resolution of the Daleks. They're more intimidating when there's either one of them or only a few of them. Even in the classic series, when there's not so many of them, it's more challenging. The problem when there's a whole army of them, spaceships, millions, whatever, is that the Doctor always has to kind of Deus Machina beat them. You know, she always has to do this one clever thing that destroys all of them. And it happens over and over and over and over. I'm kind of desensitized to it. Don't get me wrong, Revolution of the Dalek, I thought that was a neat little trick when she tricked him into the TARDIS, even though she did murder an innocent TARDIS, which is a little out of character, but ignoring that. But it's still a neat little trick. But so many times, even in the Stolen Earth and Journey's End, that one little thing that suddenly blows them all up, we see that a lot. So how about a story where the Doctor's fighting an army of Daleks and she can't beat them? The most she can do is get out of there, survive. Think Caves of Androzani. There are no good people in that. The Doctor's whole main goal in Caves of Androzani is get the hell out of there. Get out as fast as you can. Get Perry, Get out. Try to get a cure for the Spectrox poisoning and get out. Because nobody is on their side. So the whole episode is basically about trying to get a cure, trying to get Perry, trying to get back to the TARDIS. That is a story to where if they had never had a ride there at all, they'd have just been better off. And that's what it kind of is here. Not necessarily quite to that extent, but imagine the Doctor ends up on a ship or a space station or a planet and she can't save everyone. She manages to get a few people away in the TARDIS with her, maybe a dozen, half a dozen, 20 people, but she can't save anybody else. For some reason, the Daleks are just too powerful this time. And, I mean, they're fighting with a purpose here. The Daleks are, make the Daleks like the old Daleks, the cold Daleks, the power of the Daleks, where they don't care. They're emotionless. They kill anything. They manipulate people. They use them. As soon as they don't need any more, they kill them. Power of the Daleks nails that. I want to see that kind of Dalek back. And the Doctor just can't beat them. She has to escape. One, for us, this makes the Daleks threatening again. Because we'd be taken by surprise. Holy crap, the Daleks just whooped the crap out of her. This makes the Daleks a threat. That makes them intimidating. That means next time we see them, we're going to be like, I don't know if she can take them this time. Also, in the universe, this makes them threatening to the Doctor. She's going to react to them with a little more caution and a little more edge the next time she sees them. Much more like right after the Time War. She's going to be a little more wary of them. And imagine if it's a whole planet. Because imagine all those ships firing on the planet, just like in Day of the Doctor at Gallifrey. Blowing up the whole planet for whatever reason, and she can't save it. And she manages to get, say, 20 people out of there, but millions or billions she can't get out. They die when the planet's destroyed. Another planet she failed to save. Because she'd be thinking in her head, I couldn't save Gallifrey, I couldn't save this planet. Imagine the emotional repercussions, especially for this Doctor who's already not very sure of herself. It's just going to hammer her and hammer her and hammer her. And we're going to see some emotional growth from that. And again, it would be so unexpected to see her lose like this. And it would be nice to see one where the Daleks triumph. It'd be very much like The Empire Strikes Back, basically. The bad guys win. And it would be the Daleks. That'd be the perfect way to do it. So I'd like to see that. I'd like to see the Doctor lose one like that. And number one on my list is, the rumors going around that Jodie will be leaving at the end of series 13. I don't want her regeneration to be this theatrical, drawn-out piece, because I'm over that at this point. I really want a low-key regeneration. Don't make the whole story about the regeneration. Or if you do, make it more background stuff, like Caves of Androzani, when they're still dealing with the Spectrox poisoning, but it's, taking a back seat to everything else that's going on in the story. Maybe she gets shot by a poison dart, and she's poisoned throughout the whole story, but she's having to deal with other stuff to where it just kind of catches up to her at the end. I want that too. I want her to regenerate laying down. I am so tired of in the modern series, every time the Doctor regenerates, it's standing up. Every single time. With the only exception being McGann, who starts his regeneration standing up and ends it laying down. Because all of the old Doctors in the classic series, a lot of times they're so wore out, they can't stand up anymore. Look at Peter Davison. That last episode, he is just going on sheer willpower. When he gets Perry into the TARDIS, he just collapses. That's it. He can't really move. I want to see that. I want to see the Doctor just put through the ringer like Caves of Androzani. Imagine if you combine this with my last point, the Dalek thing. What if she's right in the middle of trying to stop the Daleks and she gets shot by a Dalek and she's barely alive? And she can't do anything. And Yaz just grabs her, yanks her in the TARDIS, and then throws the switch and gets them out of there, which would really tick the Doctor off at Yaz and create a really good character dynamic there, and cause some friction. But yeah, she just, she can't move. She can't stand up. She gets 2 or 3 lines. I don't need the big speech. I'm sick of the big speeches. Even Capaldi gets a big farewell speech, even though there's nobody there. And don't get me wrong, I like some of Capaldi's speech. Some of the stuff he says about always try to be nice but never fail to be kind. That's really nice. Yeah, that's it. I really like that. Problem with his speech is it goes on too long. It's too long. And then the regeneration effect where it's grand and over the top, much like Matt Smith's when he blows up a whole Dalek ship with it. And it keeps going. It's played out. And then the The whole blowing up the TARDIS thing afterwards, I'm very sick of Regenerations blowing up the TARDIS. It's tropey at this point. Let's not do it. So the Doctor is laying down. She says 2 or 3 lines. That's all you need. Think John Pertwee's Regeneration. He says a couple things, and then it's it. So give him 2 or 3 lines. Has a nice, calm, subdued regeneration. Not this giant explosion that blows everything up. A subdued regeneration. Kind of like when people update, some fans like to do fan-made versions of the classic regenerations, but they make them look more like the modern series regenerations with the yellow energy. Something more like that. It's calm, and then when she regenerates, she can sit up, look at the TARDIS, and be like, I don't like it. Do that. But I do want a very calm regeneration, not over the top like they've all been, because I'm over that at this point. So those are the 5 things I want to see in Series 13. What do you think of my ideas? Do you think some of them are great? Do you think some of them are just total nonsense and you just want to ball it up and go, it's cool. I don't mind. I have my opinions. You have your opinions. Mine are not better than yours. Yours are not better than mine. Tell me the 5 things you would like to see in Series 13 of Doctor Who. There's a lot of things to do. Click the like button. Click the subscribe button. Click the bell for notifications so you can always stay on top of everything I am up to. Check out my main channel, Prowl1701, PROWL1701, where I talk about all things Star Wars. And most importantly, stay safe out there, and thank you for watching.